Cory, how should we be looking at securing the cloud infrastructure, the cloud apps, the SaaS softwares that we're bringing into our environment?
Yeah, and the SaaS one's actually particularly interesting, but I mean, just in general, what's funny about the cloud is the cloud. I'm going to broad statement here, right? AWS, GCP, Azure, like of course they're doing things for security, but what they're not doing is they're not releasing their services with security in mind. Like the idea that you can even have a database on a public IP address is wild to me, right? Or like the option to turn off encryption is there. We had a customer very early on, like I kind of mentioned earlier, like we have these secure compliant components that we build by default. And one of the things that's in them is encryption is on. You can't turn it off. That's not an option. And we had a customer very early on that was complaining about like the price increase that it caused by encrypting a Postgres database. And it's like $1 a month. It's not much at all, right? And they were complaining about this price. And so I offered to refund them $12 because like, we're not going to turn this in. Like we cannot make our systems more insecure. So I mean, as far as like infrastructure is, there's like, I get that they want to make something that works for everybody. And so being able to turn these things on and off are important for making sure every customer is happy. But who are you really serving? Like who needs a database that is unencrypted, right? Like, especially as your business gets global, like that's really not an option when you start to get to more restrictive compliance, right? Like, so now as far as SaaS products, like SaaS products are a whole other story, right? Like the idea that, especially in this age of like AI, that we're going to take our most precious data and we're going to ship it off to somebody else's VPC that we hope they're doing security, right? Oh, they got a SOC 2, logo on the bottom of the page, while like business people might be like, oh, we're SOC 2. Like we know what that means as engineers. Like there's a whole lot of leniency on what SOC 2 is, and there's a whole lot of leniency as to when you're going to correct some of those things. So like the idea that you're going to take a bunch of your PII or customer health data and just ship it off to some third party and hope that they're good stewards of that data, I think is, again, being the less than 4% of engineers have security experience, is hopeful at best, right? And so you see this shift of a lot of SaaS companies starting to do this like on-prem enterprise deployment. And I think that's going to be key for a lot of SaaS companies to make sure that they're offering the best security. And they do this by putting it off on you, right? So if you're a HCA or Blue Shield and you want to run some maybe accounting product, then to be able to deploy that accounting product directly into my VPC, where I know that my security team is able to take care of that. And you're seeing a couple products in the space that are helping SaaS companies do that. And I think that's a win for everybody. It takes the burden off the SaaS company. It puts just, your compliance and security measures around your product. It does put more of a burden on the customer in that scenario, but I think that's a burden that's warranted.